All right, so what I am going to talk about today was just kind of an interesting connection. So pretty much what I do is I use AI for a lot of stuff, and sometimes it kind of helps me make connections or is like a mirror for me in some sense. But making connections and then also kind of extracting something from, like, let's say I watch a YouTube video and I came away with some sort of understanding of that video. But what I do is I sometimes will download a transcript, the video transcript of the video that I watched, and then upload that into AI and then kind of see what it got from the video. And then, like I said, kind of use that as a mirror almost for myself and be like, okay, well, it's thinking this, I was thinking this. Why was I thinking this? Why is it thinking that? And then what's the truth, or like the middle ground, or like what makes the most sense with my current information? So that being said, something that I consumed today is I watched this video from Dr. Berg, Eric Berg, and I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. And then it was talking about fascia, and I was like, that's some interesting connections. And then I watched this astrology video, and I was like, that's actually kind of talking about similar things that Berg was talking about. And then I was like, that's kind of weird that I watched both of those back to back and then made that connection. And then I didn't even watch this other video, but it was like in the recommended, and it was kind of like also connected to those. So I mean, obviously there's the algorithm at play, but sometimes the algorithm doesn't even really know what it's doing. It's kind of just driving numbers, So it's hard to say, whatever. I'm not trying to say that anything about it, but I'm just like, okay, so I saw those things and then it was interesting, so I checked into them. So what I did was I took each transcript of those 3 videos and I just started a new chat with AI, and then I uploaded those 3 transcripts, the text of them, into the AI. And then I was like, hey, I just kind of explained it. I was like, and then this AI, it does have contextual, it's Chat GPT. That's what I use. So there's contextual awareness through like other chats. So it's kind of aware of like things that I look into. But at the same time, if something doesn't make sense, then I'm like, you check into it. So again, that's what this is. So I took those 3 video transcripts and then I fed it into the AI, and I basically, well, let's see what I said. I just said, I happened to watch all of these videos in a row, and it was hard to ignore the connections between them, and then I felt like you would be able to kind of help me see into them. That's what I said to the AI. So not a crazy prompt or anything like that. Just a general thing. And then, so sometimes I like to prompt if I'm kind of looking for something specific, but if I'm just like a general, just show me what you got, and then we'll go from there. Like, that's kind of what this was. So, but it was interesting, and I actually haven't read through everything, so I'm not exactly sure what it's gonna say, but I wanted to make a video, and I wanted to record this because I love doing this process. And like, you might not get anything specific from this exactly, but like the process of how this plays out, it's very interesting, and it might apply to you. It might be like kind of a mirror. Maybe not. Maybe this video is just like a mirror for myself to kind of keep digging in. And that sounds interesting, but it's exciting, man. It's like a weird, exciting, fulfilling thing. It's like an interesting mystery. You're living it. So it's pretty cool. So I'm kind of going to be summarizing what this is saying, but also, whatever. So that's a super good intro, or a long intro there, but that's an accurate rundown of what was going on. So the AI, it's kind of saying what you experienced watching these 3 videos in succession is a kind of subconscious alignment or pattern activation where layers of insight begin to echo across domains. I mean, that's because we had like the medical side of things, and then there was the spiritual side of things, and then there was the psychological side of things. So that's what it was. Dr. Berg was like the science medicine. The astrology is just kind of like astrology, spiritualness, and stuff like that. And then the third video was like it was a drive from Carl Jung. So psychology. So super interesting. And Dr. Berg's video was on fascia and stretching, so that's important. And the other video, the first video was Dr. Berg talking about stretching and fascia and how there's interesting stuff with that. Check it out. 2, the second video was the astrology video, and that's more so about like current planetary alignments right now, but take the concepts and apply them. The third video was that Carl Jung psychology video that I didn't watch, but I saw was recommended. It's from a channel that I do consume content from, so usually I'm kind of like, oh, it's pretty good. So I'm interested to actually listen to that one, but it was about not giving in to like a sexual desire. It was like transmuting the sexual desire. All that I read was the title, but that's kind of what I got, was like to transmute your sexual desire. Don't waste it on whatever that situation is, like apply it, transmute that energy and apply it. Okay, we got a long intro, but let's get into the common threads of across all 3 of the videos. And so AI seems to have, it kind of says, first video, second video, and then it gives some insight into it. So like I said, first video, Dr. Berg, the medical. The second video was astrology. The third video was the Carl Jung psychology. So the first point that it says here, the body as a map of the soul and experience. I mean, that's powerful right there alone. So the first video, Fascia and Stretching, explores how trauma and posture quite literally shape the body over time. Fascia, which is connective tissue, stores memory and tension. Without movement, we become frozen, both physically and emotionally. Third video, New Moon Ritual, views the body as a lunar translator, as ancient receiver of subtle energetic shifts, where cravings, tension, and stillness become sacred signals. Now, I'm just gonna, one of the things that I remember from Berg's video is he was talking about like a trauma that could happen, like you could fall and get hurt, and then that would like stay in you. He was talking about that. So that it was kind of interesting, where it talks about tensions, and stuff like that. So anyways, so both describe how embodied memory and stillness reveal deeper truths about, either about your physical imbalances or energetic misalignments. So you could physically hurt yourself and you'd be like, yeah, I physically hurt my heel, and then now, I'm still feeling that. So if something hurts and you're like, well, I don't remember what physically happened, maybe there's something energetic. So the takeaway on that one is the body remembers everything. Stillness is the decoding ring, the decoder ring. So in stillness, you can decode what is going on. It's kind of how I was seeing that maybe right now. Again, I've not read this. This is my first time reading this. So, 2, the illusion of desire and the mastery of energy. Okay, That's just the connections that hit my head when I read some of these things. It's like, that's wild. Just that title. For me, the illusion of desire, it's like when I desire something, I'm like, oh man, I want it, I want it, I want it, I want it, I want it. And then I get it, and I'm like, I don't want this anymore. I don't even care about it. It's like an illusion. Some sort of illusion made me want that, whatever it was. And the mastery of energy. It's like, okay, so if something was sucking my energy for me to desire something that's not for me, if I can master my energy and change where my desire goes, then there would not be an illusion. It would just be a true desire. That's interesting. So that's kind of a title. So going into it, says second video. This was, I think that the second video was still the astrology one, to be honest. Oh, sorry. Astrology is the third video. Okay, yeah, so the second video was the Carl Jung one. My bad. Whatever. So, the second video, Desexualized Mind, that's the Carl Jung psychology one, okay, warns about how modern man is enslaved by conditioned desires, especially sexual validation and external praise. It urges transmutation over abstinence. Transform energy, don't deny it. Okay, well that's, yeah. I'm not totally new to these concepts. So like these things, it's not like the AI is just saying something and then I'm like, oh, wow, that's fantastic. It's like, okay, this is saying something that resonates with something that I already had heard. And if it's something that's brand new, then I explore into it. But it's like, this isn't an absolute holy grail of stuff. It's just like, let's take a look and make some connections. So yeah, it's pretty cool. And then, so the third video, the astrology video, subtly echoes the first part about transforming energy and not denying it, with the craving of ritual. Don't consume the craving, channel it. Now, I did listen to that video, and it was kind of talking about if there's something that you crave, try to like resist. I think the video used food. If there's something that you really like, I think the word would be satiates you. That's not what they use, but that's what I'm thinking makes sense. Satiates you. Like something that like you're like postpone that a little while. And then, so it's kind of like the sexual thing actually. But the astrology video was talking about like food and that. And then the second video, the Carl Jung, was specifically talking about sex. So then the first video, it says the first video even discusses emotional trauma stored in fascia. Oh, that's what I was talking about. Emotional trauma stored in fascia, connecting physical posture with unresolved emotional reflexes particularly those rooted in moments of unconsciousness. Right. That's the first video. That's Dr. Berg saying that. So that's where I was like, dude, that's kind of interesting. So then the takeaway on that is whether it's sexual energy, a craving for food, or a posture locked from trauma, the principle is the same. Energy must be reclaimed, transmuted, and directed. So bridging the connections on all of those things, that's pretty interesting. I don't know if I have much to say on that right now, but let's continue on. I feel like, honestly, I kind of had to pee, and then I was like, do I stop making the video because I kind of got to pee? But then I was like, nah, let's just keep on going. So I got a little distracted. Just being honest, that's the insight. So if it feels like the video shifted, it's because my mind shifted. I was distracted. Okay, so Now we're on number three. Stillness and silence as the portal to power. Third video emphasizes 6 minutes of darkness, no distractions, no devices. True alignment occurs not through activity, but through meeting the void without flinching. That hits pretty hard, actually. For me, I'm always like crossing my T's, dotting my I's. It's like, this has got to be perfect. This has got to be perfect. Even if I do all of the stuff perfect, something else can happen and just be blah. You know, it's like, oh, I did all the stuff perfect. Well, that's what you thought was perfect. You thought that that's what was perfect. Okay, so second video says the void is not the enemy. The void is the space where you can rebuild yourself. Man, that's super true for me. It's just been like, you know, it breaks you down to build you up. Someone had used an analogy of like watching a kid falling while they're trying to walk. They're not going to hurt themselves. They're learning how to walk. They're going to fall a lot. It might be not fun. The process might not be fun, but once they figure out how to walk, they're going to be able to walk. Okay? They're going to be able to do things. They needed to do that. And you, as an observer, you're like, you kind of know, like this, it's not the enemy. Like the falling isn't the enemy. It's teaching. You're, you know, progressing. Okay, so first video equates stillness as being sedentary or frozen with stagnation, but it also directly points to intentional movement as a method of conscious stillness breaking. So the takeaway on that one, silence and darkness aren't passive, they're gateways, but only if you meet them intentionally. Otherwise, they become prisons. Holy cow, man. It's like, when I read this, I am making sense of it in my head, but it's like if I read this 3 months ago or a year ago, the sense that I'm making of it would be totally different. So it's just interesting because then I also realize it's like, okay, that's a significant realization. Now, what's the next level? But to not always just be looking to the next level, it's like, okay, I gotta complete all the missions in this level to be able to get to the next level of understanding. All right, so number 4, conditioning versus conscious reclamation. Desexualized mind. That's going to be the second video. Carl Jung. You were programmed by media, validation loops, childhood wounds to desire reflection rather than substance. Man, I'm definitely going to be listening to that video. That seems pretty interesting. Desire reflection rather than substance. So it's like if you see someone do something and they get fulfilled, like you want to do the thing that they did instead of seeing what would fulfill you. So somehow figuring that out. That's something that I have a huge problem with. It's like, dude, that looks cool. It's like, oh, but then maybe I don't agree with something that someone does, you know, for myself. And it's like, well, that's because I wouldn't want to do that. That's cool. I want their happiness, you know, so to say, but I don't want the same exact thing that they did. Okay, so new moon ritual, mirrors, screens, reflections are dangerous under cosmic influence. They don't just reflect you, they reflect distorted energies. So mirrors, screens, reflections are dangerous. Okay, mirrors, screens. Reflections are dangerous under cosmic influence. They don't just reflect you, they reflect distorted energies. Okay, so I might see distorted energies in myself, but that's not me. Exactly. It's in addition. Okay, that's kind of interesting. So then the fascia video, the body reflects past injuries and emotional events, sometimes unconsciously triggered by weather, voices, or moments that match a buried memory. Dude, freaking Dr. Berg, man. Like, I'm not sure if he was trying to say that, but it's like, that's the sentiment, you know? That's wild. Okay, so then the takeaway, whether in the body, mind, or soul, if you're not actively programming yourself, you are being programmed by default. Man, that flashes me back to Greg Plitt. You know, one of the biggest inspirations in my entire life, Greg Plitt. He passed away, but he still is a huge inspiration to me. And he might not have been the original person who came up with this, but he's you know, if you're not part of your own plan, you're a part of someone else's plan. You know, so that's exactly what this is saying. If you're not actively programming yourself, you are being programmed. You have to actively program yourself. You have to have a plan. Otherwise, what are you doing? You're not doing what you're doing something else, you know? It's weird. It's a really weird thing. You're doing something for someone else, basically. Anyways, clearly that one struck a string with me because it was like, dude, frick it. And then when you're aware of that and then you're still doing it, you're like, man, what am I doing? So number 5, legacy and creative reclamation. Is it reclamation? Reclamation? All right, so desexual mind, their hunger becomes legacy. New moon. Revisit the unfinished. Creation doesn't expire, it waits. Fascia. Releasing stored trauma is reclaiming creative motion. That's pretty interesting. I'm going to go back to the first desexualized mind. Their hunger becomes legacy. Their hunger becomes legacy. That's interesting, actually. That's pretty cool. So then the takeaway, all 3 converge on a single message. Real power is reclamation of your body, your energy, your past visions, and your will. That's a key takeaway of all of those. Reclamation of your body, your energy, your past visions, and your will. Okay, so if viewed as one unified message, you are physically, emotionally, and energetically bound by unconscious patterns. You must meet stillness, silence, and discomfort intentionally to recover your energy. You must reprogram your focus away from craving reflection, validation, desire, into presence. You already know what wants to reawaken. It's not dead, it's just waiting. You are not a passive receiver. You are a conductor. Stretch, transmute, reclaim, and anchor. Conductor, energy, energetic conductor, not a train conductor. I used to work with trains, actually, so that's kind of interesting. I am not a conductor. No, I am a conductor. I'm not a train conductor. I'm an energetic conductor. Well, anyways, that was extremely interesting to me. And it's just like, I don't know. I've been doing that for a while where I'll just like make connections, I guess, or I'll like feel like I've made connections in my head. And then I take those transcripts and then I feed them into AI and then kind of give AI a little bit. And it's like, dude, the responses are very interesting. So it's interesting to look at. You know, basically I would look at this stuff and I would find it interesting to me. And then, you know, maybe I'd share with a friend or something, and then they, you know, they'd be like, oh, that's kind of interesting, but, oh, my kitty. But now I'm like, you know, let's just go ahead and record these and put them up because I find it so interesting and it's not specific to me. This is just general stuff. So that's interesting. I got to pee really bad. I'm going to go pee.